Well, hello, my friend, and thank you for joining me as we continue our journey through the book of Genesis, looking for portraits of God to get to know Him better and better every day. So now we come to one of the stories of Cain and Abel. I love this. It's confusing to many, but what I believe is happening here is very simple. God is showing Himself as our heart flusher. He's flushing out what's in our heart. Take a look at it with me, would you? It's Genesis chapter 4, verses 4 through 5. And the Lord had regard for Abel and for his offering, but for Cain and for his offering, He had no regard. Let me stop there for a moment. We really don't know what the big difference was. The Bible doesn't make it clear. It's not the difference between a live animal and fruits and vegetables, because we know later on the grain offerings and things like that were perfectly acceptable. So then we got to look at the heart behind it. Abel giving first fruits, the very best of what he had. It doesn't tell us whether Cain was bringing the very best that he had or not, but that's conjecture. That's why I believe the real purpose of this passage is to show what was in his heart, which is obvious as it goes on. Look at it. So Cain became very angry, and his countenance fell. And when you continue to read the account, God said, "Why are you so angry? Why is your countenance fallen?" And they get into this dialogue, and man, Cain just goes right after God. And of course, that spirit of anger gets even worse, and it results in him killing his brother Abel. God was trying to protect him from that. God was trying to deal with that. In this offering scenario, He was flushing out an attitude of the heart that needed to be dealt with. Oh, my friend, as parents, when you're disciplining your children, that's what you're doing. You're helping flush out these heart attitudes so that they don't get worse. You know, people all the time will say things and think that if you can just answer this, for example, then I'll come through. But then when you do answer it and they don't come through, it exposes that that really wasn't the issue to begin with. Quick story, I had a man years ago who was proudly asking me one day. I met him at a store and he was working on cleaning some razors and stuff like that. But he had grown up in the church, and he found out I'm a pastor, and he proudly said, "But I don't do that God thing anymore." And I'll be honest with you, I'll tell you why. I've had a question I've been asking for 40 years that no pastor's been able to answer. But if you can, I'll come to Christ. Okay, what is it? Where did Cain get his wife? And he was so proud of that, because that's a classic question. Cain is disciplined by God. He goes away and he marries a lady somewhere in another land. Where did they come from? Adam and Eve had Cain and Abel, 4 people. Where did he get his wife? And the Lord put it in my heart to answer this way. I said, well, wait a minute. The Bible doesn't say that that was their first 2 kids. It's just the first 2 kids that are recorded. They lived for hundreds of years. They had many children, and the children had children, and the children's children had children. Could have been going on for 300 years, 400 years by the time we have this story. The Bible doesn't say one way or the other. The man was stunned. He said, wow, that actually makes sense. Well, I'm still going to have to think about it. Flushed out his heart. So when God flushes out your heart, my friend, listen to what comes out. And it'll tell you what God is trying to flush out, to deal with, and His kindness with you. So until next time, keep listening for those whispers of God.